Are you tired of putting your priceless photos in boring frames? Now you can create a way to make your photos come alive. I've enjoyed photography over the years and I've done this project a number of times. Today I'm going to show you how to creatively use Mod Podge with your photos. First you'll need a flat wooded surface, a board. You can get these at any craft store. They come in all shapes and sizes. You can also get one at the hardware store if you want to sand it down yourself. That might be cheaper. Next you're going to want to print your favorite picture. You want to make sure you use an ink printer, not a laser printer. Make sure it's just on flat paper, normal paper, not cardstock. And you also want to make sure it's the size that fits the board, because if you get it too small you're going to have bare spaces at the top and bottom. So you would rather have it bigger than smaller. The most important thing you'll need is the Mod Podge. You can get this at Hobby Lobby. You're going to want to use a sponge brush when applying it because it's easiest. That can also be get at Hobby Lobby. You're going to want to make sure you get the matte, not the glossy, when using this. Once you have all your materials, you can start creating your photo board. Brush a thin layer of Mod Podge on the board to start. And you want to make sure you're doing it the same way, in the same direction, and get it evenly covered. And if there are any grooves in your board, just fill them up with the glue as much as you can. And then you want to quickly take your photo, have that laying right side up, and take your board and flip it upside down on top of it. Try to get it pretty even. Push down on a flat surface, and then you can flip it right side up, smooth it out. You want to make sure that you don't get any bubbles in it, because that will also affect the way your picture turns out in the end. So just make sure you smooth it out. If you notice there's an area that is coming up, like this corner, just add a little bit more glue to it. And then when you're finished with that, you can take the remaining excess glue that's on here and just rub it on the edges. You don't need to get a lot, but just secure it on the edges of the board, because it'll help later on when you rip the excess paper off. So now you're going to let that dry for about an hour, but while that's drying, you can also, it's a good time to wash your brushes because you don't want the glue to dry on there because that's going to make the brush hard. But we're going to use that in a minute anyway. And I did one earlier so that way we can continue. Now that it's drying, now that it's dry, you're going to need to rip the edges off of the excess paper. And you can do this, it doesn't have to be real neat. Now you're going to need your wash rag, your damp wash rag. It doesn't need to be soaking wet, it just needs to be damp. You're going to start on the corner and just get it a little bit damp, enough to show that there's water on there. And then you start rubbing with your finger. And you'll feel the paper fibers start to come off. You just want to keep rubbing. And your photo's going to start to appear. Using your finger helps because you can sense how hard you're pushing, because if you push too hard, you're going to rub too much and then the space is going to be bare and take away your photo. So, once we have all that done and all your picture is seeable, it's going to look like this. And then to finish off, the last thing you're going to do is put another coat of Mod Podge on it, and that's just the finishing coat. To make sure that the picture stays on there. You want to make sure you get a good coat around the edge, because that picture still is paper and it still is there, so you're going to want to do that. So once that's dry, you have successfully created your photo board. You just learned how to creatively use Mod Podge to turn your boring pictures into a piece of art. Next time you can add your own personal touch, whether you add glitter to the Mod Podge, you paint a bold color around the edges. You can also, if you're printing your pictures, you can do a collage and print more than one picture at a time. These make great personal gifts for any occasion.